Hello everyone, welcome back to Most Stuff Jeff. I am Jeff and this behind me is Rosa the Rebel. And I'm here to tell you about how many times I have dropped my bike, both with my prosthetic and without. And I'm here to tell you that dropping your bike isn't that bad. Of course, every circumstance is different, every situation is different, every time you drop your bike is going to be a little bit different. But once you drop it the first time, it kind of breaks that ice, breaks that barrier. So the first time I dropped a bike was in the MSF course, and it was actually not that bad. I didn't feel very discouraged after dropping it because someone in my class already dropped her bike. It really wasn't that bad. I didn't think anything of it. But the next time I dropped a bike was on Rosa. And unfortunately, it was the very first day, the very first time I took her out. 2 minutes after I took her out, I tried to stop and boop, down I went. And that was the day that I decided I was going to get engine guards, but this was late 2021. All of the accessories for the Rebel 1100 were still being manufactured, or they're on back order because everyone was trying to scoop them up because this is the first year of the manufacture of the 1100. So I did buy the engine guards, but they were on back order for a while. And from there, I think it took me probably a week to even sit on my bike again, much less take her out, because I felt discouraged and just a little embarrassed because I felt so empowered before. And then after dropping her, I just felt so scared, just even riding her back to the garage. From there, it would take me maybe a month before I dropped my bike again. I was coming out of a parking lot. This was probably the second time I've ever filled up my gas tank. And I was coming out of the parking lot, or coming out of the gas station, and I was at the stop sign waiting for someone to turn left in front of me. And I didn't square up my handlebars again, and the camber of the road was a little uneven. So I was not very confident in stopping, and of course, bloop, right down she went. And the person who turned left in front of me actually had to get out of her car and help me pick up my bike, and it was, again, a little embarrassing. So I came home, and I stayed off my bike for a couple days, but I decided, was I going to wait for the engine guard, or was I going to continue to practice? I decided I was going to continue to practice, and I felt pretty good. I was building up my skills. I was putting on hours and miles on my bike, and until the third time I dropped my bike, it was in a different gas station. And this time there was a pothole right in front of me coming out of the gas station at the stop sign, and I was so focused. They tell you in the class not to target fixate, but I was so fixated on getting over this pothole that as soon as I had some clearance to get out of the gas station, I gunned it, which was a huge mistake because I gunned it right towards the median across 3 lanes of traffic. Thankfully, no one was coming, but I panicked and gunned it right into the median. Thankfully, I was able to stop completely before my bike tipped over. And that was the lowest point of my riding experience so far, because again, the engine guard still wasn't delivered, and I had to have someone pick up my bike again for me. I just felt so terrible. And I remember feeling so low and so dejected that as soon as I got home, I just threw down my gear, threw down my motorcycle, and I decided I'm never gonna ride a bike again. This is not for me. I can't do it. I can't do it. And I remember feeling like that for a good couple weeks. As soon as my engine guards came, I rode my bike very gingerly under the speed limit until I got to the bike shop and I had them install it. And actually from there, I felt a lot more confident getting on my bike, because at least I knew that I could pick up my bike. I thought that I could pick up my bike in case I dropped it. I decided to go for a ride after work one day. I didn't even get to leave my driveway before I tipped my bike over. Thankfully, there were no witnesses because, again, this was pretty embarrassing. And I was just, again, this time I was like, are you kidding me? Really? So I got frustrated, even more frustrated than I already was at that point. Thankfully, I was able to pick up my bike with the engine guards on. So that really, really helped. And I thought to myself, well, I could just do a U-turn and go right back into the driveway and then just let it sit there for a few weeks until I get the courage to go out again, or get over dropping my bike and just get back on the bike and just take her out for at least 30 minutes, maybe an hour, just to get over it. And that's what I did. The fourth time I don't count because I had come in from riding, the kickstand gave way as I was leaning her over and leaned her over all the way to the ground. So that wasn't too bad. But the next time I dropped my bike was when I got my prosthetic and I decided I was going to practice. Mind you, this bike is, again, 500 pounds. So I went to an empty parking lot, a nice big parking lot where I could do my figure eights and I could practice stopping and starting. And after 30 minutes of getting used to maneuvering and turning around, I decided I was going to brake and I was going to ease into braking. But there's a huge difference in the feel of using a prosthetic versus not. And I had put maybe 1,400 miles on my bike before I even got my prosthetic. Even though I eased my bike into a stop, I still didn't put enough pressure on one side. The handlebar, the bike was off balance and then just down it went. And I just went home after that and I counted that as my practice session. That was the first time I practiced with my prosthetic. And the final time that I dropped my bike was when I practiced with my prosthetic the second time. This time, I don't know how this happened, but I was trying to stop and I leaned her over on the other side, the opposite side, and that's where I got my other dents in my gas tank. That was the kicker for me. I decided that I wasn't going to practice with my prosthetic again until I can get some lessons with someone else or just practice on a lighter bike, maybe a dirt bike, something a lot smaller, maybe on dirt, so I wouldn't injure my bike too much, because I did put another dent in my gas tank. So those are all the times that I dropped my bike, and I am here to tell you that it does get better, it does get easier. The more you practice, the more confident you'll feel, and the fewer times you'll probably drop your bike. Now, I'm still very new. I still only have about 1,700 lifetime miles, so I'm probably gonna drop my bike again, but I feel a little bit better about picking up my bike and just getting back out there after each time I drop her. I hope this has helped a little bit, but if you have your experiences of dropping your bike, or you feel a little trepidatious about getting out there because of the thought that you might drop your bike, then talk about that in the comments. Hopefully I will see you again in the future.